Media Watch is we're up to now. James Creedon joins us. James, this story regarding phone hacking in the UK, it all centres around tabloid newspapers, and it has more twists and turns than a best-selling tabloid story, doesn't it?
It does indeed, and the thing is now it seems to be going beyond the tabloids to other newspapers. If we have a look at The Guardian today, the paper that's been breaking the story for the last week or so, News International Papers targeted Gordon Brown. Now, last week we saw that they targeted missing girls and erased their phone messages, which caused a massive uprising of public anger, which partly was responsible for the News of the World newspaper being shut down. We saw the last edition yesterday. But in any case, now they're saying other papers were involved in these sort of activities, including the Murdoch-owned Sunday Times and The Sun. Now, what were they doing? Well, in the instance of Gordon Brown, they were getting medical records, they were getting bank details, legal documents from Gordon Brown's bank. Apparently, a Sunday Times journalist or somebody working for the newspaper pretended to be Gordon Brown and got bank details from one of the banks that he used, also his lawyer. So in any case, the Sunday Times was just they were conning his bank and his lawyer, while the Sun printed details in 2006 of Gordon Brown's infant son's medical records, and he had an illness which they spoke about, cystic fibrosis. And if we have a look at the New Statesman, they're pointing out that at the time the Sun bragged about this. They basically said, we brought this news to you, and also, we have shone the spotlight on this issue. We have increased national understanding of cystic fibrosis in partnership with the Cystic Fibrosis Trust. So what they're saying here in the New Statesman is we'll probably be hearing a very contrite apology from the Sun in the next day or so. But don't forget, at the time they were bragging about this.
It's interesting that this phenomenon, which people I think have been happier to think is confined to tabloids, is actually being used in the broadsheet papers too.
That's right.
But the common denominator, the Rupert Murdoch stable.
For now, at least, it seems to be limited to the Murdoch group. But in any case, illegal tactics being used. And if we move on to the computer, we can see that Sarah Brown has reacted to this. Of course, it concerned her family, and she said today, "So sad to learn about my family's privacy being hacked. I suppose it is very personal and very hurtful if it is true," she said. And interestingly, Alistair Campbell, there's a photo of him on his Twitter page, he reacted to. He was the Director of Communications for Tony Blair. So somebody who was involved, I suppose, in that very close, cosy relationship between the media and the powers that be, because Tony Blair was just as close to the Murdoch group as Cameron is. But he points out that Rebecca Brooks, who is still the head of News International, Murdoch's right-hand woman, that she was very close to Gordon Brown and Sarah Brown. He considered them best friends, in fact. And while that was going on, her journalists were getting their son Fraser's medical records. So there was a real degree of hypocrisy and double standards there. Friends on one level, yet the people working for her were digging the dirt up illegally, through illegal methods, on their family records, medical records.
Okay, that remains to be seen by the inquiry, I suppose.
Yes.
But clearly it looks very much like a hornet's nest, doesn't it? What's next?
All right, well, I thought it was worth looking at the Sun's website, because the Sun can't avoid this. This is another paper in the Murdoch, I suppose, stable. B Sky B bid hit as Brown's records targeted. So they're talking about the B Sky B buyout, which you could say is one of Murdoch's priorities, to buy out 100% of B Sky B. That has now been kicked into touch because it's going to be examined by the Competition Commission for perhaps Murdoch owning too much of the media industry. So there you go. That's the Times, and it goes on and on and on. We'll have a quick look at the New Statesman again. This is an interesting article about Ed Miliband. Now, his father, I wasn't aware of this until recently, was a Marxist economist by the name of Ralph Miliband. And he had a theory that if you have a capitalist society and a capitalist state, they sort of look out for each other. They're not going to, what he said is his basic theory is a capitalist society is a capitalist state at its beck and call. They're saying it's up now to the son, Ed Miliband, to disprove his father, who was very fatalistic basically about this. He said that a state would never put the brakes on a company, perhaps such as Murdoch's company. They're saying now it's up to the Parliament to show that democracy can put the brakes on capitalism, can regulate capitalism, and it's up to now Ed Miliband to heed the warning of his father, but to prove his fatalism wrong. So there you go. Lots of coverage in the paper still about this. And we're into the kind of analysis this week, because the events, I suppose, were so fast last week that you couldn't even analyse it.
For now, but who knows, tomorrow might bring yet another twist in this tale. James,
Indeed.
thank you very much
Thanks,
indeed.
Mark.
James Creedon with Media Watch.